All right, let's go out to Toronto, Canada, and talk to Laura, the LAURA. What's up?
Not much, just the usual.
Is it
How
cold?
about you?
You sound thrilled to be alive. Is it freezing in Canada?
It actually just snowed, so.
For those of us in Tennessee, what is that? Oh, is that when white powdery substances fall from the sky?
Yeah, it hasn't toppled on the ground yet fully, but.
When I said white powdery substance, Kelly got all excited back there in the booth. So, hey, you did. All right, so what's up, Laura? How can I help?
So I'm just going to lead with what I sent in, because otherwise my brain is all over the place and I don't even know where to start.
Perfect. Go for it.
So the question is, how do I learn to enjoy the company of others? And so the context is...
Oh, that was the question just by... Hold on, that was the question just by
sorry?
itself?
Yep, that was the question.
Okay, yeah, unpack that for me. That's a dense question.
Okay, so I'm a high-functioning autistic adult with ADHD.
Okay.
And I basically feel like I haven't figured out how to human yet.
Okay.
Had a miserable upbringing.
Yes.
Fell under the radar and basically only got my diagnosis recently.
Oof.
And essentially, socializing feels painful.
Okay.
So I don't know how to do small talk, leave a positive impression, or contribute positively to a conversation in relationships. I can't figure out what I bring to the table and how to connect with people. I'm basically fighting years of mistrust of people in general, and a brain that essentially ruminates on almost every interaction I have. So I guess the full follow-up is, I guess, how do I as an adult learn to enjoy social interaction when I'm so late in the game and basically when my own brain is sabotaging my efforts?
Man, there's a lot there. Walk me back. Tell me, you said childhood was pretty hellacious. Tell me about it.
I mean, the summary is my dad was a hoarder.
Okay.
If he got a diagnosis for bipolar, I'd be surprised that he got the diagnosis, not the bipolar part. He admitted he was an alcoholic and claimed my mom was also an alcoholic.
Okay.
Basically as a result of him.
And what led to your autism diagnosis? What sent you to go get a diagnosis? Or did you do that on your own?
I got that on my own recently.
I mean, did you Google it and figure it out for yourself, or did you sit down with a psychologist and do a battery of tests?
It was basically, I had to become an expert on my own because I was sort of flagged when I was a kid as having something,
Okay.
but they didn't know what it was. And they sort of just gave me, like, slapped on a learning disability label just for the sake of having some sort of label through schooling.
Okay.
But it was never actually properly vetted.
Okay.
And so within the last 2 years, I basically did that myself and had to essentially sort of figure out, okay, I think I have this and this. Let me go and get tested because the tests cost money. And then was basically gambling to figure it out. And turns out so far they've agreed with me.
Okay. So you have gone to get tests?
Yeah.
Okay.
For both autism and ADHD.
Okay.
I mean, if you ask, there might be a little bit of OCD in there, but that's just my personal opinion, and that is untested.
Okay. Adult autism and ADHD often get overlapping diagnostics. That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't mean you've got two things wrong with you. Okay. I don't want you to think, I don't want you to think in those terms. Like you just went and took your car in because it was making a noise and they said, well, it's the alternator and the carburetor. I don't want you to think of your mind like that. Okay. If it's a true spectrum disorder, that's going to be a different conversation. So I want to leave that to an ABA specialist or to somebody who works specifically with adult autism because there's going to be some gaps there. I'd have to talk to you a long time and like have an in-person conversation with you. But I'll give you some broader context that might apply and might also be a challenge to you. So I might not be able to solve all this issue for you, but I at least want to give you some different perspectives or some different ways to think about yourself, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say painful, unpack that for me. Be pretty specific. Like interactions with other people are painful. Where's the pain? Where do you experience the pain, and where does that pain stem from?
I mean, I would say it starts with literal physical discomfort.
Okay, where?
Probably everywhere. Like even in just having this phone call, it's like
no. Where in your body? Where in your body does your chest get tight? Does you get that warm feeling in your stomach? Do you feel like you have to go to the bathroom? Like where does that sit? Do you get headaches?
It's almost like I just immediately want to be out of this situation,
okay.
But it's kind of interesting now because I'm sort of on ADHD meds, which is new for me.
Okay.
And it's sort of like it's showing me all this anxiety that I didn't realize I had before.
Okay.
It's almost like that alarm bell was sort of just unplugged and now it's sort of been plugged back in.
Okay.
So like right now it's like heart.
Okay, your heart's just beating 1,000 miles an hour. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's why that's important. You used a word that I love, and so I want to just flip this on its head, and I want you to think of your life and particularly your body in this way. You grew up in the home of somebody who struggled mightily with alcohol, maybe two people. Are they still married?
Yep.
Okay. If you grow up in the home of someone who struggles with alcohol, it's particularly damaging because that person is absent, yet they are right in front of you. And as a kid, it's like grabbing for a ghost. It's like trying to hug somebody that looks like they're there, but they're not really there. It's incredibly traumatic and disorienting to a child. Okay? Or think of it this way. It's like trying to plug something in the dark. And you're just hitting the wall all around the plug, and you can't seem to plug it in. And everyone's yelling at you to turn the lights on. That's what it feels like, right? So your body develops some really profound alarm systems when it comes to other people because the two people on planet Earth that were supposed to be as connected as possible to you were there, yet they were gone. And you put on top of that a hoarder, somebody who you had to navigate a home that wasn't safe for other people to visit, to come into. Your parents probably didn't go out a lot. Is that fair? There wasn't a lot of social interaction?
Yep.
Okay. So I want you to think through some of those things, and then I want you to go fast forward all the way to right now. How old are you right now?
31.
Okay. I want you to consider that your body is working perfectly. Imagine you were dropped in a bobsled in an Olympic competition and told, we're going to shove you off the edge of this bobsled and you're going to go down the track. And we need you to win. Your body would, A, freak out because I've never been in a bobsled before. Well, you're in Canada, maybe you have. I grew up in Texas. I've never even seen a bobsled in real life, okay? So they put you in a bobsled, shove you off the side. Of course, you're going to wreck. It's going to be chaotic. That doesn't mean that you did something wrong. That means you were set off on a roller coaster that you did not choose. And your body's trying to keep you safe. Other people have been unsafe your whole life. And I bet you got picked on like bloody hell in grade school, didn't you?
See, that's maybe another part of where the problem comes in.
Okay.
I mean, I was the youngest in my family, and it's kind of like probably lowest on the totem pole. So I sort of developed this nobody in life has my back, so I will mentality.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't a bully myself, but sort of good luck bullying me was the mentality.
You were just a cornered animal your whole childhood.
Yeah, that's sort of how it felt.
Okay. Have you experienced abuse of any kind?
Like if there was a punch thrown and didn't hit and make contact, does that count?
Yes, if you get hit or If an adult tries to hurt you, yes. You ever experience any sexual abuse?
Not that I would consider that.
Would other people consider it?
Debatable.
Okay.
But only one incident?
Okay. One is enough. One is enough. Here's the picture I'm trying to paint for you. People have never been safe for you. So you're 31 years old and you're beating yourself up because your brain's trying to keep you safe and not engage in small talk, not be around other people. Because people who are supposed to keep you safe hurt you or didn't show up for you or made you scapegoat on things. And you learn to fight to defend yourself growing up your whole life. And then you put a potential abuse on there, and that's a different conversation, but you're talking about 3 decades of your body trying to protect you from other people. The demon here is that other people are like oxygen. You have to have them in your life to be whole. And yet your body has rightfully identified them as the problem. And so if you are, the work you have to do, and it's not going to be solved on this short phone call, the work you have to do is to teach your body over time that those people were not safe. And by the way, if you're still in relationship with those people, I want to challenge you to end that. End it. Because every time you walk back in that home, every time you walk back in those holiday sessions, every time you re-encounter those people who still have agency over your life, that alarm system is going to go off. Those people systematically hurt you and took your childhood from you. On the other side, you're going to have to head into the alarm system when it comes to being around other people. The language you used, and again, I'm not going to diagnose you with anything at all, but the language you used is language I've heard walking with people, who, adults with some sort of spectrum disorder. And interaction is very transactional. And that's the way you described it. I don't bring any value. I'm not doing this the right way. I need to be fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank. I want you to lose the idea the best you can of relationship being a transaction. I bring this and they bring that so that we get this. Okay? A relationship is not a math problem. Instead, if you don't like small talk, don't engage in small talk. Stand there, like your presence is a gift to a conversation. You learning how to do something that very few people on earth know how to do well, and that's listen. Actually listen to somebody. Saying nothing is an extraordinary gift. You can often enter into a conversation, say nothing or very, very little, and have contributed more to the people in that conversation than anybody just flapping their gums. An incredible gift. And you deserve and desperately need other people to listen to you. Do you have somebody that you trust, a friend, a neighbor, somebody that you know well that you work with, possibly a romantic partner that knows you, that you can be honest with?
I do, but I guess I sort of feel like it's increasingly like I'm dropping the ball somewhere because I'm sort of feeling less and less like I can talk to people.
Why do you feel that way? Are they giving you that signal? Are they telling you that? Or is that a story that you're beginning to tell yourself?
Just based on things they've said and ways they've acted.
Okay.
And just little things. I mean, like the closest friends I would say moved away, so they're not even physically able to meet me anymore. I sort of lost them as an option. Like I have somebody I can talk to, but they're sort of more increasingly being like saying things like I'm sort of trying to play a victim.
Okay. Do they know your story?
I do.
Okay. Somebody hears your story and says that you're trying to be a victim. I'd probably, that would be them opting out of my life for a season, if not forever. You've had a pretty gnarly go of it, and I'm 100% convinced you've only told me 10%, 20%. Fair?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. I know. You have a very consistent, evasive cadence that I've heard too often in my time sitting with people. Here's a way I want you to reframe it, okay? And again, I want you to continue seeking care from a counselor. If you don't have one, other than the person you had to pay to go get psychometric testing, I know it's expensive, stay on the line, and we're going to hook you up with BetterHelp for 3 months, at least for free, and at least they can direct you, okay? Give you a ballpark. At least look over your diagnostic stuff, and then begin to give you a treatment plan of some sort. When people struggle with small talk, often is the case, they struggle with small talk because the conversation is about them, how they feel, how they're not doing, how they're worried about how they're standing, what their arms are doing, what their hands are doing. Are they saying dumb things or silly things? Or I want you to practice not caring how you stand. If somebody doesn't want to be around you because you stand weird, God bless them. Get them out of your life. My friends make fun of how I use my hands. Like, I talk too much with my hands, and I do kind of weird things with them when I talk. I didn't even notice it until my friends were making fun of me one time. This is decades ago. And they all love me. They don't not hang out with me because of that. And I've learned I don't care. This is how I use my hands when I talk. I'm not going to spend effort. I got too many other things in my life I'm trying to work on. So instead of thinking of a conversation as a performance or as a transaction, I want you to think of a conversation as mutual presence, one person with another. Sometimes that presence can be filled up with conversation. Other times you may have to practice saying, hey, tell me what's going on in your life. And you intentionally not talking about you for a whole conversation, just listening. Just listening. Not comparing, not going, oh yeah, well, what happened to me? None of that. Just listen. Just listen. And when you feel your heart rate start to beat faster, like you described on this call, or your stomach gets that feeling in it, I want you to head into that. Why is my body trying to protect me? Oh yeah, because other people have never been safe. But I think you are, to whoever you're talking with. And by the way, people move away, and it's not your fault they didn't move because of you. They moved because of life. Because of a job, or because they got married, or whatever, they moved away. But I want you to practice being in the presence of other people. Practice feeling that discomfort and staying there. And practice considering a conversation not as, you put $5 in, I'll put $5 in, and that way we'll get $10. No. Not engaging in small talk. How's the weather? It's cold out here, man. No, I'm not going to do that. How are you? Tell me what's going on in your life. And then just practice listening. These are things that you will do with a counselor. You'll practice the back and forth. You'll practice the awkward interactions. You'll practice not engaging in small talk, but saying things like, hey, what lights you up these days? You have a project at work you're working on? What's the scariest thing that happened this last year? Sometimes I ask those questions and people think I'm awkward. Other times people are so grateful. That's fine. I am kind of awkward. That's okay. There's a lot in your story, Laura, so I want you to continue sitting with a professional counselor, professional psychologist. And when you feel that discomfort relationally, your body's working pretty good because it's been rough growing up. Now the question is, are you going to head into that discomfort and find ways to teach your body, I wasn't okay then, I wasn't safe then. Whew. I'm all right now. Thanks for the call, Laura.